Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyapadi Paschatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hari 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 Hari.
Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna. Welcome to everyone. Welcome to Bhakti Adam, aka Stalwart Pundit, aka Bhakti E for ecstatic.
Hey, what's good?
Huh?
I was trying to sound like a Krishna conscious gangster. I was saying, hey, what's good?
You did a very good job. Hare Krishna. How you doing?
Well, right now I'm with my grandma. I'm at my grandma's house. My little cousin is upset that I have to call instead of play with him. And I need to call. I really need the association because I didn't go to Wisconsin Cincinnati today. And God knows what'll happen if I lose you. So, and it's okay. I already played with him and everything. It's not like I'm just like neglecting him outright.
Maybe he'll come to like it.
I hope so.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, sorry I'm a little late. I had to rush back from Pittsburgh, which was a really nice program. Awesome
Really?
festival. It was
That's awesome.
awesome. But there was a huge traffic jam, so a little bit late, but whatever, do what we can. But anyway,
How can you be upset?
uh, can't. So I'm gonna dive in. I'm not gonna read for too long. I'm just doing something at least to keep the vibration going here. I had a few devotees that were gonna come, but it looks like they're not gonna make it. So,
Oh.
all right. So we're reading Canto 1, Chapter 2, starting with text 5. And so I'll do the invocation and then dive in. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam namaskritya narang chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudírayat. Shrinvatam swakata Krishna punya shravana kirtanaha hridyantasto yabhadrani vidhunoti suhrit satam. Nashtaprayeshva bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavatyutama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. Alright. Whew. Bogdanam, can you hear anything in the background or does it sound good?
No, I don't hear anything, but is it bad for you?
It's okay. I just want to make sure it
Okay,
sounded all right there for the
good.
viewers, the hearers.
I see.
Okay. Canto 1, Chapter 2, entitled Divinity and Divine Service. It's text 5. Muniya sadhu prashtoham bhavadbhir mangalam yatkrita krishna samprashno yenatma suprasidati. O sages, I have been justly questioned by you. Your questions are worthy because they relate to Lord Krishna and so are of relevance to the world's welfare. Only questions of this sort are capable of completely satisfying the self. Purport. Since it has been stated herein before that in the Bhagavatam, the absolute truth is to be known, the questions of the sages of Naimisharanya are proper and just because they pertain to Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the absolute truth. In Bhagavad Gita 15:15, the Personality of Godhead says that in all the Vedas there is nothing but the urge for searching after Him, Lord Krishna. Thus the questions that pertain to Krishna are the sum and substance of all the Vedic inquiries. The whole world is full of questions and answers. The birds, beasts, and men are all busy in the matter of perpetual questions and answers. And in the evening also the same birds come back and again become busy with questions and answers. The human being, unless he is fast asleep at night, is busy with questions and answers. The businessmen in the market are busy with questions and answers, and so also the lawyers in the court and the students in the schools and colleges. The legislators in the parliament are also busy with questions and answers, and the politicians and the press representatives are all busy with questions and answers. Although they go on making such questions and answers for their whole lives, they are not at all satisfied. Satisfaction of the soul can only be obtained by questions and answers on the subject of Krishna. Krishna is our most intimate master, friend, father, or son, and object of conjugal love. Forgetting Krishna, we have created so many objects of questions and answers, but none of them are able to give us complete satisfaction. All things but Krishna give temporary satisfaction only. But if we are to have complete satisfaction, we must take to the questions and answers about Krishna. We cannot live for a moment without being questioned or without giving answers. Because the Srimad Bhagavatam deals with questions and answers that are related to Krishna, we can derive the highest satisfaction only by reading and hearing this transcendental literature. I will read that again. Because the Srimad Bhagavatam deals with questions and answers that are related to Krishna, we can derive the highest satisfaction only by reading and hearing this transcendental literature. One should learn the Srimad Bhagavatam and make an all-around solution to all problems pertaining to social, political, or religious matters. Srimad Bhagavatam and Krishna are the sum total of all things. Alright, text 6. Savayapang sangparo dharmo yato bhaktiradhokshaje ahaitukya pratihata yayatma suprasidati. The supreme occupation, dharma, for all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. Purport. In this statement, Sri Sutta Goswami answers the first question of the sages of Naimisharanya. The sages asked him to summarize the whole range of revealed scriptures and present the most essential part so that fallen people or the people in general might easily take it up. The Vedas prescribe two different types of occupation for the human being. One is called the Pravriti Marg, or the path of sense enjoyment, and the other is called the Nivriti Marg, or the path of renunciation. The path of enjoyment is inferior, and the path of sacrifice for the supreme cause is superior. The material existence of the living being is a diseased condition of actual life. Actual life is spiritual existence, or Brahmabhuta existence, where life is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge. Material existence is temporary, illusory, and full of miseries. There is no happiness at all. There is just the futile attempt to get rid of the miseries, and temporary cessation of misery is falsely called happiness. Therefore, the path of progressive material enjoyment, which is temporary, miserable, and illusory, is inferior. But devotional service to the Supreme Lord, which leads one to eternal, blissful, and all-cognizant life, is called the superior quality of occupation. This is sometimes polluted when mixed with the inferior quality. For example, adoption of devotional service for material gain is certainly an obstruction to the progressive path of renunciation. Renunciation or abnegation for ultimate good is certainly a better occupation than enjoyment in the diseased condition of life. Such enjoyment only aggravates the symptoms of disease and increases its duration. Therefore, devotional service to the Lord must be pure in quality, that is, without the least desire for material enjoyment. One should therefore accept the superior quality of occupation in the form of the devotional service of the Lord without any tinge of unnecessary desire, fruitive action, and philosophical speculation. This alone can lead one to perpetual solace in his service. We have purposely denoted dharma as occupation because the root meaning of the word dharma is that which sustains one's existence. A living being's sustenance of existence is to coordinate his activities with his eternal relation with the Supreme Lord Krishna. Krishna is the central pivot of living beings, and he is the all-attractive living entity or eternal form amongst all other living beings or eternal forms. Each and every living being has his eternal form in the spiritual existence, and Krishna is the eternal attraction for all of them. Krishna is the complete whole, and everything else is his part and parcel. The relation is one of the servant and the served. It is transcendental and is completely distinct from our experience in material existence. This relation of servant and the served is the most congenial form of intimacy. One can realize it as devotional service progresses. Everyone should engage himself in that transcendental loving service of the Lord, even in the present conditional state of material existence. That will gradually give one the clue to actual life and please him to complete satisfaction. Hare Krishna. I might only read one more, so it's going to be a quick day.
That's cool, but
Just
I'm
give me one
gonna maybe
second.
ask. I
Sorry?
might want you to read that. I might want you to read that whole paragraph again. The whole paragraph is like nectar about fruit of desires and solace.
Yeah, just give me one second. I'm going to
Okay.
crack this window open real quick. I mean, it's already open, but it's hot in here. All right, I'll read it again.
Ready.
Read it again. Read it again. All right. We have purposely denoted We have purposely denoted dharma as occupation because the root meaning of the word dharma is that which sustains one's existence. A living being's sustenance of existence is to coordinate his activities with his eternal relation with the Supreme Lord Krishna. Krishna is the central pivot of living beings, and he is the all-attractive living entity or eternal form amongst all other living beings or eternal forms. Each and every living being has his eternal form in the spiritual existence, and Krishna is the eternal attraction for all of them. Krishna is the complete whole, and everything else is his part and parcel. The relation is one of the servant and the served. It is transcendental and is completely distinct from our experience in material existence. This relation of servant and the served is the most congenial form of intimacy. One can realize it as devotional service progresses. Everyone should engage himself in that transcendental loving service of the Lord, even in the present conditional state of material existence. Hari!
Hari.
Hari! That will gradually give one the clue to actual life and please him to complete satisfaction. Speaking of complete satisfaction, Baba Sarovarham just came in.
Hare Krishna.
Haribo!
Who's that?
Bhakti Adam.
Haribo about that.
Haribo.
Yeah. I wasn't really going to go much longer, but we can at least read one more. We're on 127.
Okay.
But now you're here. Oh my goodness, I might not be able to stop.
127 is a pretty good one.
Oh my goodness, I'm feeling it. All right. I'm feeling it. All right, text 7. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janayadya Shivairagyam Jnanam Chayara Haitukam. By rendering devotional service unto the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world. Purport. Those who consider devotional service to the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna to be something like material emotional affairs may argue that in the revealed scriptures, sacrifice, charity, austerity, knowledge, mystic powers, and similar other processes of transcendental realization are recommended. According to them, bhakti, or the devotional service of the Lord, is meant for those who cannot perform the high-grade activities. Generally, it is said that the bhakti cult is meant for the Shudras, Vaishyas, and the less intelligent woman class. But that is not the actual fact. The bhakti cult is the topmost of all transcendental activities, and therefore it is simultaneously sublime and easy. It is sublime for the pure devotees who are serious about getting in contact with the Supreme Lord. And it is easy for the neophytes who are just on the threshold of the house of bhakti. I'll read it again.
Yeah.
It is sublime, or I'll go back. The bhakti cult is the topmost of all transcendental activities, and therefore it is simultaneously sublime and easy. It is sublime for the pure devotees who are serious about getting in contact with the Supreme Lord, and it is easy for the neophytes who are just on the threshold of the house of bhakti. To achieve the contact of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is a great science, and it is open for all living beings, including the Shudras, Vaishyas, women, and even those lower than the low-born Shudras. So what to speak of the high-class men like the qualified Brahmanas and the great self-realized kings? The other high-grade activities designated as sacrifice, charity, austerity, and so on are all corollary factors following the pure and scientific bhakti cult. The principles of knowledge and detachment are two important factors on the path of transcendental realization. The whole spiritual process leads to perfect knowledge of everything material and spiritual. And the results of such perfect knowledge are that one becomes detached from material affection and becomes attached to spiritual activities. Becoming detached from material things does not mean becoming inert altogether, as men with a poor fund of knowledge think. Nice karma means not undertaking activities that will produce good or bad effects. Negation does not mean negation of the positive. Negation of the non-essentials does not mean negation of the essential. Similarly, detachment from material forms does not mean nullifying the positive form. The bhakti cult is meant for realization of the positive form. When the positive form is realized, the negative forms are automatically eliminated. Therefore, with the development of the bhakti cult, with the application of positive service to the positive form, one naturally becomes detached from inferior things and he becomes attached to superior things. Similarly, the bhakti cult, being the supermost occupation of the living being, leads him out of material sense enjoyment. That is the sign of a pure devotee. He is not a fool, nor is he engaged in the inferior energies, nor does he have material values. This is not possible by dry reasoning. It actually happens by the grace of the Almighty. In conclusion, one who is a pure devotee has all other good qualities, namely knowledge, detachment, and so on. But one who has only knowledge or detachment is not necessarily well acquainted with the principles of the bhakti cult. Bhakti is the supermost occupation of the human being. Bhakti cult, bhakti cult, bhakti cult. I want to look up the definition of the word cult. I think I know it. I mean, from what I remember, it was it's basically like organizing of. It's like an organization of religious-based activity.
A particular system of religious worship, especially with reference to its rites and ceremonies.
Huh. So basically, every religion is a cult.
Yeah, there's another
Well,
definition. A group or sect bound together by veneration of the same thing, person, ideal, etc. Maybe that's the more
Huh.
general. There's a lot. There's like 8 total definitions.
So even like people that just come together because they're very much like into like
Chocolate.
earth. Yeah, chocolate. Yeah. Yeah, it's like the chocolate cult. The garden. They're a gardening cult is what they are.
Yeah.
So Prabhupada's is using it based on these kind of definitions.
Yeah, I wonder what the definition he had when he was. That would
so
be.
what propaganda then is in people's minds that makes them think, that we're
What's that?
Oh,
what kind of propaganda is actually in people's minds? Like, was there some like hysteria about cults in the 70s or
Well,
something?
back in the day, more so.
Yeah, okay.
And usually, I think generally, at least from around America,
Oh
from what
yeah.
I understand, like when people say cult, what they think is like a perverted, like a religion that's like not real or something.
cheating people.
Yeah,
misleading people.
yeah, like some kind of criminal organization, basically.
Yeah.
It's not the actual literal definition, but that's what people take it as.
Well, the Latin origin of the word from 1600s is habitation, tilling, refinement, or worship. Like culture, cultivating.
Interesting.
My sister was like, "You're joining a cult, Adam. This can't be right."
Did she
They're
go
like,
to
it literally
college?
says, no."
Oh.
Oh, what?
Well, I was gonna say colleges are like cults.
Yeah, they are. They're more. I mean, they're more sectarian than us.
Anyway, sorry to cut you off.
No, it's cool. I was just saying, like, my sister was like, "Yeah, you're joining a cult. Yeah, you might not know this, Adam, but you're joining a cult. It says it right here. The Hare Krishnas declare themselves as a cult." And then, my,
Well, Prabhupada's talking about the Bhakti cult.
yeah.
That's pretty funny, actually.
Prabhupada very openly states we're a cult and we brainwash people.
What? What
It's
did he
very
say?
explicit.
Yeah,
I,
we're a cult and
I
we
didn't hear him.
brainwash people,
There's no
Yeah,
but we wash the brains.
brain is washed.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. How are you, Prabhuji? So happy you're here. College you came, man.
You guys look like brothers.
We are. Actually, I feel like there's some kind of dynamic where we're actually like, um, I don't know, somehow we come together as one.
Yeah, when you walked in, I felt like more unity happened. I don't know why. Could feel it.
When I'm hungry and he eats, he sends the nourishment to me. When I'm hungry and he eats, I send the nourishment to him. Best we can.
Nice
Best
to
we
be here. I'm grateful.
can. Alright. Well, okay, can't stop there.
Yeah, let's get another one.
Alright. Make sure you put on your seatbelt, Prabhuji.
I am well situated.
Okay.
Ready to hold me here.
Alright. Wait a minute. Okay, text 8. Dharma svanustita pungsang vispakshena katasuyaha vadpadayed yadiratim shrama eva hi kevalam. The occupational duties a man performs according to his own position are only so much useless labor if they do not provoke attraction for the message of the personality of Godhead.
Hari.
Report. What was that? Can you say it louder?
I just said Hari.
I can't hear you.
Hari!
What? I
Hari!
can't hear you. I
Hari!
can't hear you.
Hari!
Can't.
Hari! Hari!
All right. I read it again. The occupational activities a man performs according to his own position are only so much useless labor if they do not provoke attraction for the message of the personality of Godhead. Purport. There are different occupational activities in terms of man's different conceptions of life. To the gross materialist who cannot see anything beyond the gross material body, there is nothing beyond the senses. Therefore, his occupational activities are limited to concentrated and extended selfishness. Concentrated selfishness centers around the personal body. This is generally seen amongst the lower animals. Extended selfishness is manifested in human society and centers around the family, society, community, nation, and world with a view to gross bodily comfort. Above these gross materialists are the mental speculators who hover aloft in the mental spheres. And their occupational duties involve making poetry and philosophy or propagating some ism with the same aim of selfishness limited to the body and the mind. But above the body and mind is the dormant spirit soul, whose absence from the body makes the whole range of bodily and mental selfishness completely null and void. But less intelligent people have no information of the needs of the spirit soul. Because foolish people have no information of the soul and how it is beyond the purview of the body and mind, they are not satisfied in the performance of their occupational duties. The question of the satisfaction of the self is raised herein. The self is beyond the gross body and subtle mind. He is the potent active principle of the body and mind. Without knowing the need of the dormant soul, one cannot be happy simply with emolument of the body and mind. The body and the mind are but superfluous outer coverings of the spirit soul. The spirit soul's needs must be fulfilled. Simply by cleansing the cage of the bird, one does not satisfy the bird. One must actually know the needs of the bird himself. One must know the needs of the baird. The need of the spirit soul is that he wants to get out of the limited sphere of material bondage and fulfill his desire for complete freedom. He wants to get out of the covered walls of the greater universe. He wants to see the free light and the spirit. That complete freedom is achieved when he meets the complete spirit, the personality of Godhead. There is a dormant affection for God within everyone. Spiritual existence is manifested through the gross body and mind in the form of perverted affection for gross and subtle matter. Therefore, we have to engage ourselves in occupational engagements that will evoke our divine consciousness. This is possible only by hearing and chanting the divine activities of the Supreme Lord. And any occupational activity which does not help one achieve attachment for hearing and chanting the transcendental message of Godhead is said herein to be simply a waste of time. This is because other occupational duties, whatever ism they may belong to, cannot give liberation to the soul. Even the activities of the Salvationists are considered to be useless because of their failure to pick up the fountainhead of all liberties. The gross materialist can practically see that his material gain is limited only to time and space, either in this world or in the other. Even if he goes up to the Swargaloka, he will find no permanent abode for his hankering soul. The hankering soul must be satisfied by the perfect scientific process of perfect devotional service. Text 9. Dharmasya yapavargyasya nartorataya upakalpate nartasya dharmai kantasya kamo labhaya hi smritaha. He wants to see the free light and the spirit. Translation. All occupational engagements are certainly meant for ultimate liberation. They should never be performed for material gain. Furthermore, according to sages, one who is engaged in the ultimate occupational service should never use material gain to cultivate sense gratification. Purport. We have already discussed that pure devotional service to the Lord is automatically followed by perfect knowledge and detachment from material existence. But there are others who consider that all kinds of different occupational engagements, including those of religion, are meant for material gain. The general tendency of any ordinary man in any part of the world is to gain some material profit in exchange for religious or any other occupational service. Even in the Vedic literatures, all sorts of religious performances and allurement of material gain is offered. And most people are attracted by such allurements or blessings of religiosity. Why are such so-called men of religion allured by material gain? Because material gain can enable one to fulfill desires, which in turn satisfy sense gratification. This cycle of occupational engagements includes so-called religiosity followed by material gain, and material gain is followed by fulfillment of desires. Sense gratification is the general way for all sorts of fully occupied men. But in the statement of Sutta Goswami, as per the verdict of the Srimad Bhagavatam, this is nullified by the present shloka. One should not engage himself in any sort of occupational service for material gain only, nor should material gain be utilized for sense gratification. How material gain should be utilized is described as follows. Yeah, sometimes people, devotees, they get the idea, like, Prabhupada says, one should not work for material gain. And then we hear other sentence like, one should not engage himself in any sort of occupational service for material gain only. And then he says, nor should material gain be utilized for sense gratification. Sometimes devotees hear this and they interpret it as like, and if I do anything that brings material gain, then that's Maya. But actually, what's being said is like you can do things, occupational activities for money and stuff that you need, but it's not that the goal is the money. It's like it's not only for that, but we're if we need to, which most of us do, we have to work to make money and take care of our stuff in order to make progress in devotional service. But the idea is that whenever we do acquire, even if it's more than just our basic quota of what we need to sustain and survive, then we can also use that in devotional service. Like, okay, maybe you get some whatever, you work and get some resources, some groceries and stuff, and you have some capacity for 2 times what you need for groceries. Well, you can take like the other half of stuff that you don't actually need and like do some prasad distribution, or like donate to the temple some bags of rice or whatever, that kind of thing, or whatever. So it's like, anyway, it's just kind of devotees tend to like get a very superficial idea of that concept of like, oh, you're in Maya, you work a job, that's Maya. And I have seen, and like the intention, what we're doing and why. It's not for that, but that might be part of working towards Krishna. And then, okay, we have these resources and stuff. Okay, well, I'm not just, I got a little extra money. I think I'm gonna buy one of them things like, they used to put them in the yard, and then they put a hose, and then people run and jump on and slide, and then at the end they like hit a little pool of water or whatever, like a slip and slide or whatever. Yeah, instead of like taking whatever extra funds to buy a slip and slide or something, like you can take it and you know,
Get a new belt for an altar.
yeah, something for the altar, for the deities, or for like whatever it is. So anyway, it's Hare Krishna. Everybody here
I'm
knows
in a
it.
position. I'm in a position right now where even though I'm desiring that kind of purification, I'm like still feeling like I'm not really having a very pure intention, having a very pure motive. I'm like right this in between. I don't know if it's like an in between transitional. I don't really know what it is. Does that make sense? Have you ever been in that kind of position?
Uh, maybe. Well, your intention is your intention. So, what are you in? What is your intention?
Back
You
to
know,
the point, if I can bring up something real quick that you were speaking about. So today, I was working on the stage here. They're gonna do gore printing play, so I was putting mud up. We're gonna do painting, so I was working with a few devotees to talk about that. Somebody's going to help me with that because my back's been hurting, different things too. So we're correlating together. Then I spent time speaking to some people about the farming stuff that we're gonna be doing here. Not just palace gardens, but like possibly, I'm going to be doing service here in the teaching garden and bringing this about. And like in life, I mean, whether we're working in a devotional setting or not, it's always seva and it is devotional as long as our consciousness is in that way. And even if we're not attached to the fruits of our work, if we're serving family or taking care of, things that need to be taken care of, but again, bringing it to how much gratitude I feel today because my seva is just totally immersed right now, being directly present in the Dham in certain things. So it's been, very satisfying because, yeah, it's not about the money at all. That might be a part of work. We might need that. But our seva is much deeper than that. So being thoughtful and remembering that, when we make prasadam and we can offer it to the deities and then offer it to someone, this is like, it's perfect, And anything we have, nice thing, give deities something nice, give a friend a nice gift, something. It's like that's kind of like, again, where money comes into play, but we're not overly attached to it, and we're not overly attached to the objects. It's something special.
Right, and that actually is it actually is relevant to Bhakti Adam, your question. Because basically what Kalaji is also kind of revealing is it's really like we heard today, Prabhupada defined like our material existence as basically having affection for material gain, or like basically it was really, the way it hit me was like really profound, how the affection for it, it pulls us into this material energy concept. But the same thing is true in spiritual life, just the affection for Krishna, affection for serving Krishna and his parts and parcels, and executing devotional service in so many different ways. So we can introspect and look at our intentions. What do I want? What am I going for here? Am I acting out of affection for money? Like, am I doing this because I actually want money and I want to enjoy in this particular way? Or am I doing this because I really want to experience that connection with Krishna? And so only you can introspect and be like, we have the conscious power to choose our intentions at any moment. So we may be experiencing momentum or effects of previous intentions. We might have an impure intention in a particular situation, and in the middle of an activity, realize and change our intentions to a more pure intention. But because of the way we're situated, sometimes we might see the momentum from the original intention still there, kind of working against our current conscious intention now, if that makes sense. So if that's the case, we can use our intelligence and see how, why, where our situation, our minds, or the whatever it is working against our intention towards Krishna, and then we can also change it. So
Yes.
there's our intention, and then there's like, it's like the karmic reactions come in different forms. There's like the Bij form, where they're actually sitting with us, but they're not manifesting yet. There's like another form, and then there's like the fruit form, the ones that are happening right now. And so like, we're carrying this stuff with us, and sometimes even though we may actually have some pure intentions, we're still experiencing what do you call that?
Karma.
Prabdha karma.
The manifesting results of your action.
Yeah.
Intentions.
Right. Because even after initiation, where your spiritual master takes your karma and gives you a clean karmic slate, well, with the karma, whenever we do act karmically, not only do we get a reaction, but we get an inclination towards it. So then after that, it's managing your inclinations. And sometimes karmically also, we have to manage, like our situation from previous actions. But we can still be transcendentally situated amongst it, and we're meant to be. Like, generally speaking, like, all of us are in we're sadhakas, we're practicing spiritual life and getting gradually purified through sadhana, association, and whatnot. So it's like, the material world isn't just gonna, our personal material situation isn't just gonna take this perfect, favorable shape now because we want to be devotees.
My Guru Maharaj has been using this mantra, don't get off the bus. Meaning, like, specifically in regards to japa, like, continue your chanting and don't give it up. But we also hear Prabhupada say that the the karma is like an airplane, right? Like the results of our karma, and prarabdha karma is what's in the airplane, but our destination is, if we're practicing devotional service, is Goloka. So in that sense, we don't want to get off of the plane, despite, you know, what we see and like what unfortunate prarabdha karma we're dealing with. As long as we stay on the plane and just tolerate and continue chanting, then that destination is
Yeah, that's a nice
sure.
point. Like your prarabdha karma may be a middle seat between two 400-pound individuals,
Eating fish or something.
and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get a window seat.
Yeah, exactly. I want to say, sorry, one more thing is just on what Kala was saying about consciousness and what we do in our service. You know, New Vrindavan's unique. People, devotees get paid to their service, and I've heard so many other devotees criticize the pujaris. You know, like, oh, you're getting paid to do your service. It's like, but what's the difference if they're getting paid to do that, or if they're working outside and then, you know, having to deal with all the outside stuff and then coming in and carrying that with them? It's like, of course, anyone can choose, like you said, your consciousness. When you're worshiping the deity, you can be like grateful and like use your money properly in the rights, or you can use it for the wrong reasons too. It's totally up to the person. And so it's just frustrating sometimes, like, you know, we're at the mercy of our, you know, the economy or whatever. We have to make money to survive. But the devotees, you gotta understand, they're not ordinary people. They can choose to be on that level, right? Like, we shouldn't judge someone because they're taking money. And of course, there's many types of devotees. Some might not have that consciousness, but yeah. Anyway, I see a lot of devotees who are like really sincere and like just because they're getting paid, it's like, oh, they're not really like a fixed devotee. You know?
Yeah.
It's a little bit, yeah.
Well, yeah, and then the next level of it is, well, you know, actually, Prabhupada, he does say in a lecture that,
Right.
you know, to come from material he used that word emolument, or amalgamation. I can't remember the word he used.
Emolument is like payment, yeah.
Yeah, and he said, actually, that's good, because it's better to come to the Lord than not, and, you know, and not, but he says, you know, they'll say, well, this isn't pure devotional service, which is true.
Right.
But another thing to consider is, you may, imagine there's a pure devotee, and based on they like we would not be able to know if there's a pure devotee and there's arrangements are specifically for them as a pure devotee where Krishna arranges for them to get certain things taken care of or whatnot.
Right.
Or, you know, like just because somebody's doing the Pujari Seva and there's money being given to them, it doesn't mean that they're doing it for money or because they eat, like because they need money. They might need money, but in their consciousness, it doesn't mean that they necessarily are doing it because
Right.
you can still be in the consciousness of like fully depending on Krishna, like literally pure devotional service, and then externally, you know, like the temple's giving you some money.
Right.
You know, like when I was a brahmachari here, I didn't take payment the whole time. And I didn't take anything for myself either. Like I wasn't going and buying, I don't know, fancy hats and, you know, beer and videos or whatever. Like, and the temple gave me a card, and basically whenever I needed anything, I just used the card. And basically the only thing I ever bought was like razors, like once a month or something. Because everything, I mean, so it was like, you know, basically it looks like the temple's giving me money in payment for what I'm doing, but it wasn't exactly like that.
Right.
You know, not that I was in the pure devotional service necessarily, but you know, it was a situation where all I was worrying about was trying to engage in service, and Krishna gave me the full facility, and part of that was I had to shave because Prabhupada wanted me to, and so then okay, here's what you need for that. Okay, it's just. Anyway,
Just not what Prabhupada instructed, like, for the deity department is not to pay them, but to just give stipends or whatever, and then they ended up doing that, and it just, like, didn't work.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've heard that somewhere that it just like failed that system. So
Yeah, I don't know the history.
but yeah, it's individual, right? Devotional service.
It just comes back,
Consciousness.
Bhakti is not dependent on any material circumstance. So Bhakti is completely independent. So completely dependent on our consciousness is what it is.
Yeah.
All right,
And we can't know another person's level. I like that point a lot. Like, don't judge someone because of their externals.
Right.
It's so important.
Never know. So, well, it's pretty. How are you guys feeling? Are you feeling like kirtan time or like prasadam time or keep on churning nectar time?
Well, I have obligations, but
Jai. Well, we're gonna end here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Vanchakalpatarubhya kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.